Hello, today's story takes place in Wucheng District, Jinhua City, China, around 12 noon on July 22, 2013. The Bailongqiao police station, part of the Jinhua Municipal Public Security Bureau, received a report from a cleaning lady working in the canteen. She said she usually goes to the vacant lot opposite the company to harvest sesame seeds. This time, while harvesting, she noticed a strong, foul smell coming from a pile of debris. Curious, she approached to check and discovered a suitcase beneath the debris. Suspecting something was wrong, she decided to call the police. Upon receiving the report, the police quickly arrived at the scene and cordoned off the surrounding area. Upon arrival, they used cameras to record the scene and collect evidence. Through gaps among broken bricks and dry branches, the police spotted the suitcase. When the police removed the bricks and stones, the suitcase was fully revealed. What was inside the suitcase that caused such a foul odor? Initially, the police suspected it might be the carcass of a pig dog or cat buried there. Fortunately, the suitcase had no combination lock, so the police zipped it open to inspect. However, the scene before their eyes shocked them. Opening the suitcase, police found a dismembered female body. Preliminary analysis indicated this was the scene of a homicide. The police quickly secured the scene with strict protection. After receiving the report, the police of Wucheng District, Jinhua City, dispatched a forensic team to the scene. Inside the suitcase was the curled-up body of a woman. The victim's body was unclothed and wrapped in a layer of red plastic film. The head was tightly covered with a black plastic bag. The red plastic film wrapped around the body was a household tablecloth, and the black plastic bag was a type used for trash. Through autopsy, forensic experts estimated the victim was about 27 years old, deceased for 15 to 20 days between July 2nd and July 7th, 2013. She was approximately 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed about 110 pounds. The suitcase containing the body also drew special attention from the police because it appeared fairly new. During the examination, police found intact labels and tags on the suitcase indicating it was a large Junshi brand suitcase. Police measured the suitcase length 29.53 inches, width 19.69 inches, height 9.84 inches. They also found the plastic wrapping around the suitcase was intact. Inside was an unused combination lock. Analysis suggested this was a new suitcase never used at home. The killer most likely bought this suitcase to dispose of the victim's body. After removing the body from the suitcase, the police discovered inside a cream white dress, a bra, red underwear, and a pair of black socks. The police analyzed these items as possibly belonging to the victim. After killing the victim, the suspect had placed everything into the suitcase and brought it to the scene to dispose of the body. Through the autopsy, the forensic agency determined the victim died from mechanical asphyxia. They also found a T-shaped intrauterine device, IUD, in the victim's uterus, suggesting she may have given birth before. The victim's hair was styled and dyed, and her nails were painted. Based on these signs at the scene, the police concluded the victim was a young, modern, and attractive woman. So who is this young, modern, and attractive woman who died inside the suitcase? This is the key to solving the homicide and body disposal case. In such cases, police usually seek to identify the victim first. Once the victim's identity is confirmed, the police proceed with a broader investigation. However, apart from the clothing suspected to belong to the victim before death, the police found no identification documents on her. They took the victim's fingerprints and DNA samples to input into the database for comparison, but the results were negative. This is a crucial point of the case, as the victim's origin is an extremely important clue for the police to solve the case. Let's look at the crime scene map. This is Highway 330, and the crime scene is located here. Is it possible that the killer transported the body from another place to Jinhua by car and then dumped it here? The police analyzed that if the killer used a car as a means of transportation, he could have dumped the suitcase containing the body in a more deserted place, not in this location. The crime scene is on the right side of National Highway 330 on the route from Nanshi to Jinhua. Looking at this location, it appears to be the direction from a remote area to a bustling place. Therefore, the police believe it is very unlikely that the perpetrator transported the body from elsewhere. Moreover, judging by how the suitcase was buried to avoid detection, the perpetrator covered the suitcase with construction debris. To avoid attracting attention, he even broke dry sesame branches to cover it. This shows the perpetrator intended to conceal the body. According to criminal psychology, after committing murder, perpetrators often do not want to reveal their whereabouts. Therefore, if nearby, they usually bury the body to prevent anyone from discovering the victim's true identity. Based on the crime scene, the police analyzed that the perpetrator is very likely hiding among the local residents around the scene and has a certain knowledge of the area. Moreover, the choice of this body disposal location was far from ideal because the area is quite busy during the day. However, at night it is quiet and few people pay attention. It is possible the perpetrator chose to commit the crime at night, and seeing that the empty lot was deserted, he dumped the suitcase containing the body there. Regarding the victim's identity and the items found at the scene, the police organized multiple investigation teams to gather more information. One team went to the surrounding area to interview residents and look for witnesses. Another team checked security cameras in the area, focusing on anyone moving at night who might have been carrying a suitcase to find clues about the perpetrator. The remaining team focused on investigating the suitcase, the tablecloth, and the plastic bag found at the scene. However, quickly identifying the victim remained the investigation's priority. To trace the victim's origin, the police had a model try on the dress and black socks. The police printed a large number of flyers to search for the victim's whereabouts and posted them throughout Jinhua City. Simultaneously, they broadcast announcements via local media calling for public assistance. Because no personal identification was found at the scene, the Wucheng police issued a reward notice. Anyone providing direct information leading to the case's resolution would receive a reward ranging from 20,000 to 50,000 yuan. Not long after, the Wucheng police received numerous calls with information. They obtained over 100 tips regarding missing women. The police compared these with photos eliminating cases where the age did not match the victims. After filtering, they narrowed the search to 12 missing women whose ages matched the victims, and proceeded to verify each one. However, the investigation results surprised the police. Some had run away due to family conflicts. Others had gone to visit relatives or friends. Ultimately, all 12 missing women were ruled out. The trail was cut off again, and the victim's identity remained a mystery. This meant the investigation was back to square one. Was the investigative approach wrong, or had something been overlooked? Criminal investigation team leader Lu Fuhong reviewed the case files once more. Suddenly, one photograph caught his attention. Test results showed the victim's stomach contained a large amount of dried chili powder. After inspection, the police learned that this type of chili is very spicy. This suggests that the victim had a habit of eating spicy food. Although local residents in Jinhua do eat spicy food, they rarely eat dried chili. This indicates the victim was likely from southern regions and had a strong preference for spicy flavors such as people from Yunnan, Guizhou, Sichuan, as well as Hunan and Jiangxi provinces. Baklongqiao town, where the victim's body was found, is an industrial, economic, and technical zone of Wucheng District, Jinhua City. The area has many companies listed and developing daily, attracting a large number of workers from all over to live and work there. This created considerable difficulty for the Wucheng police in identifying the victim during the investigation. The Wucheng police simultaneously investigated the victim's identity and the items found at the scene. One police team conducted a thorough investigation of the tablecloth and plastic bag found at the scene. The results showed these items were commonly sold in local supermarkets and could not provide a clear investigative lead. However, from these two items, the police inferred some characteristics about the crime scene. First, these items suggest the perpetrator committed the crime in a family environment, meaning on a table with a tablecloth and a plastic bag in a cupboard. These items typically appear in household settings. Another police team investigating the suitcase discovered that Junshi is a well-known suitcase brand with a large market share in the Jinhua area, having an official distributor. After consulting the distributor, the police received a new lead. This model of suitcase stopped production after December 2012 and is now rare on the market. In Jinhua, this suitcase is no longer sold except at a single store in Baklongqiao. Based on the distributor's information, the police went to the suitcase store in Baklongqiao town. After seeing a photo of the suitcase found at the scene, the shop owner quickly confirmed it was sold at his store. The owner had carefully kept all sales invoices. The invoice showed this large suitcase was sold on July 4, 2013 for 200 RMB. According to the store owner, at around 10:00 a.m. on July 13, 2013, a man about 30 years old came to the store to buy a suitcase. He was approximately 5 feet 11 inches tall and spoke with a local accent. At the same time, the man's strange behavior during the purchase caught the store owner's attention. He asked the sales staff to take out a ruler to measure the size of the suitcase. The salesperson said, "I asked him why he needed to measure the suitcase, and he said it was to use the suitcase to hold a computer case that he wanted to send back to his hometown." After obtaining this information, the police immediately began investigating all the courier companies in Baklongqiao town. Usually, if someone wants to send a computer case, they use a small cardboard box or similar packaging, rarely using a large suitcase like this to hold a computer case. During that period, no one sent a computer case or similar item using such a suitcase. All the unusual signs indicated that the man who bought the suitcase at the store that day was very likely the suspect the police were looking for. By analyzing the security cameras around the suitcase store, the police quickly identified a man exhibiting many suspicious behaviors. At that time, the police saw on the camera a man pulling a suitcase while talking on the phone, so they considered this man highly suspicious. If the police could find the start and end points of this man's movements, they could narrow the investigation. They focused on the critical time around 10:00 a.m. on July 4, 2013, closely monitoring security cameras along the route. However, the investigation was disappointing because most cameras no longer store data due to the long time passed and poor camera conditions preventing further tracking. Thus, the lead was once again cut off. Just as the leads were drying up on July 27, 2013, which was 5 days after the victim's body was discovered, the owner of a jewelry store reported to the police that a girl from Sichuan named Xiao La used to frequently visit her shop. Recently, this girl suddenly went missing, and the mobile phone number she left could no longer be reached. Everyone knows that people from Sichuan love spicy food, so could this woman be the victim? After receiving the report, the special investigation team immediately recognized that this information closely matched the victim profile developed by the police. Using the phone number provided by the store owner, the police quickly verified the identity of Xiao La. Her real name was La Ha, 26 years old, from Lushan, Sichuan. After verification, the police learned that the Sichuan girl had returned to her hometown due to family matters. Clues were gradually ruled out, but suspicions only grew. Time passed, and the pressure on the police increased due to many difficulties in confirming the victim's identity without any promising results. The police decided to shift their focus to verifying the suitcase found at the scene. They analyzed that the suspect's purpose in buying this new suitcase was to conceal the victim's body. The suitcase's bottom and wheels showed signs of wear and abrasion, indicating these marks were created while the suspect dragged the suitcase to dispose of the body. How far did the suspect drag the suitcase to create such abrasion marks? To simulate this, the police bought an identical suitcase and filled it with 110 pounds of rice, approximately the victim's weight, to replicate the disposal process. The police conducted an experimental investigation to determine how far the suitcase had been dragged. Every 328 feet, they stopped to observe the wear on the wheels, carefully recording and analyzing the details. The sense of responsibility and mission made the officers cautious and meticulous. Finally, they determined that dragging the suitcase approximately between 0.62 to 0.93 miles caused the wheel wear equivalent to that on the suitcase found at the crime scene. The Wucheng police then focused their investigation within a 0.93-mile radius, taking the body disposal site as the center, and conducted a thorough screening of all residents and temporary inhabitants in the area. They believed that by thoroughly screening this zero, 93-mile radius. They would surely find the suspect hiding nearby. To ensure the screening was comprehensive and precise, Wucheng police established 11 teams, each responsible for different zones with specific tasks. They compiled daily summaries of the screening progress and promptly gathered information. The police demanded that every village and household be checked without missing any individuals. Moreover, neighboring households had to know and confirm each other's information. The focus was on those showing signs of disappearance or recent departure from the locality. Since April 2011, Wucheng police had applied geographic information technology combined with big data to develop an integrated case management system. Officers and supporting staff regularly collected and updated information about residents and temporary dwellers. By scanning QR codes on the system using specialized devices, police could instantly access demographic data of every household in the area. On July 29, 2013, while checking every household in Area 8 by Longqiao Town, the police discovered an important clue. They discovered that a tenant had suddenly gone missing. The landlord said that he had moved out a long time ago and still owed me more than 100 yuan in rent, and he didn't know when he would get it back. The missing tenant's name was Liang Kai, born on July 7, 1987 from Ziqi County Mongol ethnic group, Qianzhelasu, Jilin Province. According to Mr. Ye, the landlord, Liang Kai was a worker at a company in Longqiao Town. The police later went to the company where Liang Kai worked, but found that he had been absent for many days. According to his colleagues, Liang Kai had not come to work for 4 days without asking for leave, and he had not received his salary for the month. After that, he disappeared completely. After identifying Liang Kai as a suspect, the police immediately conducted a search of his residence. During the scene examination, police found in Liang Kai's rented room a red plastic tablecloth and a black garbage bag identical to the evidence found at the site where the body was disposed of. The police also discovered bloodstains on the bamboo mat and on the bed sheets. These items were quickly sent to the Jinhua City Forensic Police Center for testing. The DNA test results brought great news to the police. The blood found at the suspect's residence belonged to the victim. Liang Kai had many suspicious signs, and the room he rented was the first crime scene that police had been searching for a long time. Immediately, the Wucheng police issued a nationwide warrant for Liang Kai's arrest. On July 30, 2013, Liang Kai was arrested in Shangqiu, Henan. Facing the police's questions, Liang Kai quickly admitted to the murder and the disposal of the body. After relentless efforts by Jinhua police, the murder and body disposal case was successfully solved in just 18 days. After that, Liang Kai was escorted back to Jinhua. Through interrogation, the truth of the case gradually emerged. According to Liang Kai's confession in mid-June 2013, he accidentally met a girl with the online nickname Shen Shen. They became friends and were emotionally involved. They continued to keep in touch. After investigation and verification, the girl with the nickname Shen Shen was identified as Chen Ling, born in February 1991 from Longli County, Guizhou Province. Online, Liang Kai claimed to be the CEO of a company with an annual income of 2 to 3 million yuan. In the virtual world, one was a wealthy CEO, and the other was a young, single, beautiful woman. As their conversations grew deeper, their feelings for each other also intensified. Once Chen Ling told Liang Kai that she had spent a lot of money on medical treatment and was currently financially strained. Liang Kai offered that he had plenty of money and told her to come to Jinhua, promising to cover her medical expenses. Faced with the invitation and warm help of her online lover, Chen Ling did not hesitate. On July 2, 2013, after careful preparation, Chen Ling set off to the meeting point. That afternoon, they had their first face-to-face date. Afterwards, Liang Kai took Chen Ling back to his rented room for intimacy. Afterward, Chen Ling wanted Liang Kai to take her to buy cosmetics and go to the hospital the next day. In reality, Liang Kai was not the CEO he claimed to be, but merely a warehouse manager earning less than 3,000 yuan per month. This means that Liang Kai's online identity was fake. In fact, Chen Ling might have realized she was being deceived at that time. In that case, she could have chosen to leave and not continue the relationship with Liang Kai. However, she did not do so. Perhaps she still hoped for something from him, still had expectations of Liang Kai. Through investigation, police learned that Chen Ling was a hairdresser at a beauty salon and had previously worked in Shanghai. They also found out she was married and had a child back in her hometown. This indicates that Chen Ling also used a fake identity while chatting with Liang Kai online. Liang Kai said, "I never really believed in online love. It was just chatting for fun. Nowadays, everyone is online just chatting casually." For Liang Kai, online conversations didn't need to be taken seriously, so his promises were quickly forgotten. The next morning, Liang Kai stayed home watching TV with Chen Ling with no intention of going out. Seeing that the online lover's promises were all lies, Chen Ling began to get angry. The two started arguing, and Chen Ling even slapped him twice. During the quarrel, Liang Kai's true face gradually revealed itself. He could no longer hide it and turned hostile. The argument quickly escalated into a fight. In the heat of the moment, both lost control. The relationship that began in the virtual world ended in tragedy. A few minutes later, Chen Ling passed away forever. Liang Kai said, "I was very scared at that moment, didn't know how to handle the body. When I looked under the table, there was a suitcase. I just thought about putting her body into the suitcase." After that, he went to buy a suitcase to dispose of the body and to hide his crime. Liang Kai found a nearby luggage store, bought a suitcase, and put Chen Ling's body inside. That night, Liang Kai dragged the suitcase with Chen Ling's body, wandering on the streets looking for a suitable place to dump it. In his heart, he said, "I just dragged and walked, not knowing where I was going." When he reached an old section of Road 330 near the bridge, he saw a hole. At first, he thought it was a drainage ditch, so he placed the suitcase inside. After being arrested, Liang Kai had to pay the price for his crime. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder. As for Chen Ling, the young woman with many dreams and desires for happiness, she left the world in pain and injustice. Her death serves as a warning to those who too easily believe in virtual love on social networks. The case is closed, but its haunting memory remains. It reminds us of the dark side of the virtual world, where the boundary between truth and lies is so fragile. At the same time, the case also demonstrates the keen insight, persistence, and sense of responsibility of the police force in tracking down the culprit, bringing the crime to light, and restoring justice for the victim. In any case, Chen Ling could not resist the heavy price paid for the mistakes made in virtual love, which can sometimes be too costly. The story of Liang Kai and Chen Ling is a profound lesson for everyone. Be cautious before entering the virtual world. Love and cherish yourself, so that no one has to regret when it is too late. Today's video ends here, and we look forward to seeing you in the next videos. Goodbye.